to the official Queen podcast. I'm Nick Weymouth. Here we have an absolute corker for you. We have a 3-part podcast with Brian May, direct from the Queen Plus Adam Lambert rehearsal studios. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. So here it comes. Part 1, Brian May.
We gotta tear it up, stir it up, raise it up, baby.
So here we are, basically at the top of the tree. I'm here with Brian at the rehearsals.
It's the first time we've done this.
It is indeed, yeah. So we're here in West London. Queen Plus Adam Lambert is about to kick off again. The circus is back in town.
Indeed, ready to go. Almost ready to go, anyway.
So what do you do gearing up for another leg of a tour? Is there anything you go through at all before you...
Well, if we were starting from scratch, we would do a week or 10 days in a small place, just kicking ideas around and rehearsing ourselves into shape. But seeing as we've done America and Japan and Korea and Australia and the New Year's Eve concert, we've done a lot of that already. So what we've done this time is go straight into production rehearsals, which means we're rehearsing with the entire rig. And this is a huge place. It's always a thrill to walk in, I must say, to the production rehearsals, because the whole rig is up there and it's huge. It only just goes in this vast warehouse.
So impressive.
It's great, and you know that you're standing on the stage that you will have wherever you are on the tour. Whether it's Birmingham or Newcastle or Paris or Milan or whatever, the rig will be pretty much as it is here set up. So it's a proper rehearsal. You have all the same lights, so the lighting guy can practice all his cues. You have all the same sound system, so the sound guy can get all that together. Same monitors. There's a lot of technical stuff to check out. Of course, there's all the video equipment as well. So, we have a large screen, so we'll be rehearsing all the video cues as well. Things like being able to see Freddie on the screen.
Sure.
So it is a thrill, really.
Where does it sit in all the stages that Queen have had? They're all very different, aren't they? And things just change with technology and the years go by.
Yeah, this is as big as anything we've ever done, I must say. And I think as useful, if you want to put it that way. And it gives us lots of room for drama. It allows us to get close to an audience, even though it's a very big audience. A lot of these are very big shows. But we have this great walkout and a B stage. And so we're enabled to interact with the audience. That's the idea. We have this, I remember saying this years ago, but you get one chance. You're in that place for 2 hours and you have to open the box and everything has to come out right. And you get that one chance to communicate with your audience and make them feel special, make them feel excited, make them laugh, make them cry.
And you certainly do that, I must say. Even I still get, you do. You feel it. It's a soulful show. There's no way around it.
Yeah, we used to say, blind them and deafen them and leave them wanting more.
Indeed.
It comes from being boys. We used to go and see The Who and Jimi Hendrix and Led Zeppelin, and we used to come away feeling like we were emotionally drained. We were so in it.
I just got shivers of you saying I used to go and see The Who, Jimi Hendrix and Led Zeppelin. We
used to love it, and so that's the kind of inspiration we have, if you like. That's how we like our audience to feel when they go away. And hopefully it happens. I think we're still boys, and that's why this is still so exciting for us. It gives us that feeling of contact, and there's something about rock music. There is nothing quite like a rock band in full swing, and I have great confidence in the people that I'm working with. This band is a great outfit now.
Yes.
I really felt that doing live TV. Now, live TV is very hard. There's actually not that many groups. I don't want to blow our own trumpet too much, but there's not that many groups who can pull it off because of the amount of stress involved.
Yeah.
And because if you're doing it completely live, as we are, that's something unusual. The people, when we go into the BBC, or if we go into like a foreign TV show, in Germany or whatever, Vienna or whatever, people are always kind of shocked when they see us set up and do our thing. They go, well, so you don't have any backing tapes? You don't have any hard disk? You don't have any click? And we go, no, it's live. So they go, we don't see this. We just don't see people do this.
That's so funny, because when I was out on the road with you guys in North America, I was sitting talking to Joe Sanchez, Jim Webb and Roger. And they were saying, we did the Rihanna tour. And it's nothing against Rihanna at all, but they said, this is great. This is live. It's a rock band, and all those instruments up there are being played.
Yeah.
And they said, and that's nothing against any other show, but it was. They said, no, this is brilliant. Because I was sort of, no, you're doing really. He said, yeah. This is
odd.
great. This is seat your pants stuff. This is the way it should be.
It
and
is.
They were really excited by that.
Yeah, people do. They love it. I mean, definitely the TV crews love it because they don't get the chance to do it that much. But it seems to be getting more that way. I mean, the generation's gone. We're old men now. You know, we've been doing this for God knows how long. You know, and those days of old are long gone. And a lot of the people we work with are kind of like kids to us. You know.
Yeah, sure.
And they have never seen what we've seen, I suppose. So, you know, we're an unusual, we're kind of relic. But it is live, it is dangerous, and the mistakes, if you like, or the variations, if you want to call them that.
That's a lovely way of putting it.
Are part of the magic of the show. And I
Yeah.
realised that, I mean, it's taken a while for us to realise. I think we used to be very hard on ourselves if we kind of made a mistake or something.
As if back
fell
in
apart.
with Freddy's, it's the
Yeah,
same.
I think so. You know, I think we were very, very severe on ourselves. I mean, we had a sense of humour about a lot of things, but the live show had to be right, had to be perfect. We rehearse. And but now I think Roger and I feel that we've reached a point where we have an acceptance. We are what we are. What we give on the night will be the best we can give, and that's it. So if something goes wrong, very often it can lead to something good, and the audience likes to see it. They like to know that this is real, and this particular performance will never be seen anywhere else. And it's a one-off. It's a shared experience. Now everybody films concerts these days, and I used to get kind of a little upset about that as well, because it does take away the mystery. You know, people come and they've seen it on YouTube or whatever, but it's not the same. You know, you see someone on YouTube and you get a rough idea of what they're doing, but it's not the same as the live experience. So I found that I can relax about that as well. Yeah, people have seen it and they've seen me do something right, they've seen me do it wrong, they've seen me do it different ways. And I don't think it now takes away from that shared experience of live. I think people are beginning to realise there is nothing like a live show.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I don't know, I can't watch a show through my phone. It's every now and again I might go, look, there's a quick picture, great, this is where I am, I've got a friend with me, fantastic, but call me old school as well, but I just kind of like live it
Well,
now.
I think that,
because you're never going to show it to one, it's never going to be of great quality to
that's
do anything
right,
with, is it really?
Yeah, and it's like all the photographs. Everybody takes 1 million photographs a year and they never look at them on their iPhone or anything. And I think the other side of it is it's nice to be in the moment, just exactly what you've just said. You know, if you go to a concert and you spend the whole time looking at your phone and trying to figure out why it's overexposing or something, you know, you miss the show. You just, you know, why is it distorting? You know, whereas if you're there and you just got your eyes and your ears open and you're feeling it in your body, that's the experience you want, really. That's what you want to take away, I think. The great parallel for me, see, I'm rabbiting on now, but, you know, I used to be an eclipse fanatic. I used to see lots of total eclipses of the sun all around the world. I was kind of a follower of total eclipses. And what tends to happen is you think, God, this is a unique experience. I've got to take all my camera gear and I've got to capture this moment. Now, normally you'll get anywhere between like 40 seconds and a couple of minutes of totality. If you spend that time taking pictures of it, you miss it. Oh, you absolutely miss it. You know, there's no way, because you go, oh no, fuck, the shutter's gone.
Hey,
you know,
what am I here for? Oh, I've just remembered. Yeah. Oh, no.
So I learned, but it took me a while to learn. You know, people told me, but I didn't listen. But you have to go there, and you just have to be there and be in the moment and experience it, and that's precious. There's nothing like that.
Well, one moment I wanted to touch on was kind of New Year was very different for you, wasn't it?
New Year was great, because I really hate New Year most of the time. I find I'm sort of sitting there wondering what to do. You know, everybody's doing something. Why aren't I doing something?
Yeah.
And usually it's quiet for us, and it's another of those moments where you don't know which family member you ought to be, so you feel guilty and all that sort of stuff. So this year, no problem. We're busy. We're working. We're working, and we're doing something great. I mean, what an opportunity to play the prime spot of the whole year on BBC One. It's just incredible, that moment around New Year. And we did get the biggest audience of the whole year, which is fantastic.
I spoke to Jim afterwards and I said, look, this is just me being nosy. What were the stats like? Because it was streamed as well. I said, I don't know, but it was 10 million plus or something, just I think across the globe. I don't know exactly what the figure was.
It was actually 13 million plus in the UK alone.
Oh, right, I see, okay. Right.
Which is the biggest audience of the year, but also for the first time the BBC were streaming this stuff around the world. I forget what they call it, BBC Music or something. And strangely enough, they haven't done this before. In fact, they were a little bit iffy about it. They didn't want to advertise it because they thought someone was going to stop them because it hadn't been really passed by the powers that be. But that show went out live to Bangkok, to LA, to New York, to Australia. And so I don't think it's really possible to estimate how many more people saw it, but probably another 20 million out there at least. So it was great. And of course you sit there, you're in this pretty small place. You were there, right? You know, it's very small, very intimate, but you know that there's millions of people out there who are joined to you, you know, and are aware of your every move. So it's great. I mean, the adrenaline rush is incredible.
I mean, it was a live show, but it's almost a TV show. But you had to work within constraints, but then you had to figure out the set list. I mean, it must be kind of... I mean, the set list, I guess you were thinking, it's a party, isn't it?
Well,
so
that's
we know
it.
what we've got to do.
Yeah, we started out thinking, well, what should we do from our regular touring show? And of course, that includes a long section where Roger and I do our thing, you know, and we get very intimate with the audience. But the more we thought about it, the more we thought, this is a time when people are drinking a lot and sitting around and partying and dancing or whatever. Really, they want the hits. They want to hear bang, 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 you know, let's have a good time. So it was a party set. It was a little bit like doing the Live Aid show, to be honest. You know, play the hits and fuck off, you know. So you can edit that if you want, and bleep that. But, you know, it's like Bob Geldof said, you know, don't mess about. Play the hits. That's
he's been quoted saying Queen absolutely understood it.
Yeah, well,
they didn't go on and play the new single, or some people did new tracks. And it's like, no, that's not the point here, is it?
That's right. You don't. The trick is not to use it as promotion. You know, not that we would anyway. You know, I think we've got to sort of pass all that anyway. But just give people what they will instinctively want to hear at that time. So we kicked off with "Don't Stop Me Now," which is everybody's, you know, hen party. Stag party
it
or whatever.
It destroyed
song,
the dance floor at my wedding. It absolutely went crazy. But yeah, I just remember it being discussed, and Jim saying the BBC, they want this so badly. They want Queen there. New Year's Eve, what could be better?
Yeah, it's great.
It's very exciting.
Got to say, you know, I mean, in different situations I have quarrels with the BBC because, you know, I do think in some areas they show a bias and you get so much sort of pro-government stuff and not enough of the dissent. And you know, I think it's crucial that the BBC must be impartial. You know, so I have a quarrel with
service,
and we pay for it. You know, I have a quarrel with that. But I got to say, the BBC crew who were with us through the rehearsal period and on the night were fantastic. You know, they're the best at what they do. The sound was done by our own Justin Shirley Smith and Chris and Josh. You know, and everybody's told me the sound was great on the radio. And from what I hear, it was, you know, we have our own team doing the sound in the hall, we have the sound and the lights and everything. And and the BBC just locked in. They were so helpful, all those guys. I think their camera work was great. They never got in the way. They didn't try to tell us what to do. They were very kind of respectful of what we needed to do. And, you know, the same.
But it's funny because just you're in it, you're inside the whole thing. But it's funny, and, you know, we're sitting here at rehearsals now, but... when I talk to people, when they say, oh, they've got the opportunity to work with Queen, they do it, they drop it. Some of the guys here in the crew that I got to know when we were out, oh no, there's no way I was not going to do this show.
That's nice.
So, you know, it is because people, you know, are fans anyway, but professionals at the same time just go, no, hang on, this is Queen, you know. So
that's great. I think that's one of the great perks, in a sense, of being a successful band, that you get to work with the best people, you know, and this team they're all top of their game. You know, in so many ways it opens the doors to work with the best people and do the best things. So there's you know, I'm very appreciative of that. You know, the legacy that we've built up gives us the opportunity to always do things at the top level.
Well, it's one thing I noticed was that everyone kind of got on. Okay, I've never really toured before, but the vibe was so great. And that's got to come from the top down. And that's not me just sort of blowing, you know, just making a big deal for you guys, but it's got to come from the top down, really, isn't it? Then you get the tour manager you want, and they get their team together. They bring in the guys they want because they know they can work with, and it just filters down. And it's very relaxed.
Yeah, I think that's true. You know, it comes from everywhere, but hopefully we are appreciative of the people, and we stick with people. We have a great loyalty to people who are loyal to us. So yeah, I mean, it's vital. It's like a touring family, and if you don't get on with the people you work with, it can be grim. You know, so it's very, very important for people to get on. And yeah, we love our team. It's really amazing. You know, and things don't change in some ways. You know, you're going out there. Once you've pressed that button, you're out there on tour. And while we're in the UK, we can get home occasionally.
Yeah,
but once we
nice.
get to Paris, we're out. So for the next month, you can't get home.
Sure.
You can't be with your family and your folks and your home comforts. You are in that bubble, which is the Queen
And
touring
it is a
operation.
bubble. It's very cliche, but it is a bubble.
It is.
Yeah. It's
And it's great, you know. If it's done well, it's great. It's a nice way to live. In a sense, it's simple because you have one aim, and that's to give the audience the best time you possibly can. Everybody is conscious of that.
I have to go back to saying that when I was, like I said, I'd never toured properly, but when I was there, I mean, I was there for 3 weeks and I loved every single second of it. But one of my highlights, one of the most exciting bits for me, it's quite strange, is when you guys have just done Bohemian Rhapsody and you all come back in that tent. It's I'm not a performer, but I was looking in the tent and you're all in there and you can see, you know, your eyes are all, but you concentrate, but your eyes, you're all excited.
Yeah.
And that break, I'm getting shivers now, that break between Bo Rap and then Rock You Champions.
Yeah.
The excitement back in that little area is amazing, you know. And you hear Rod shouting, "Come on, let's go and do it. Let's do that," you know. And it was really exciting. Then we'd all put your towels on the cars, and it's a strange one. It was really kind of like that.
Yeah.
It was very pure. It was lovely to see the way you guys were still really so up for it and so excited about what you were doing there in the moment. You were absolutely in the moment.
Yeah, it never fails. You could never do this without getting excited, I must say. And sometimes, you know, if things go wrong, you get a little, you know, you get emotional about things. But generally, as I say, I think we're much more relaxed with each other and we're more forgiving to ourselves. And what's left is just this incredible adrenaline and the energy that comes from the audience. Coupling with our own energy is something incredible. I have to say, we have the extra ingredient now, which is Adam Lambert. You know, Adam is a phenomenon, and he has everything that you could ask from a frontman who's
Nice guy too.
Well, that's one of the things, you know.
You have to work with him, like you said.
Yeah, you know, if we didn't like him, it wouldn't work at all. You know, he's delightful to work with. He's stupendous. I mean, he's equipped with this stupendous instrument, his voice. I've never heard a voice like that in my whole life.
Right.
His range is just extraordinary. He's also dedicated to his art in the same way that Freddie was, you know, so recognising that he has a gift from God, if you like, his voice. He doesn't waste it. He takes good care of himself. I mean, he parties to the ends of the earth. He's a young guy.
You know?
He's a guy, you know, very much like Freddie, you know, he's into enjoying life, but he knows when he can work and when he can play, so he's always on it for the show. And he's got a natural way with the audience. You know, he's a born entertainer, much more than just a singer. He's also, which I really like, very physical on stage. You know, I'm very aware of where he is, and he's very aware of where I am. You know, Roger doesn't get the chance to move around, but Roger also interacts very much with him.
Did that come naturally, or is that something that just works?
Completely naturally, yeah. It's the kind of thing that you cannot choreograph. And it's great fun because it's going to be different every night. But there is this kind of, you develop a flow, you develop a kind of sixth sense as to what the other guy's doing. And of course our music is physical. It's not just in the mind, it's in the body as well. So the way we kind of physically interact influences the way the music sounds very, very much. So, yeah, and as you say, he's very easy to get on with. He's a total prima donna in the sense that he's into his clothes and his look and
it's a show, I guess, isn't it? I guess
fitness, you know, the same way as Freddie was, the same way as Elvis. I'm sure, you know. I never met Elvis, but I get a strong feeling that Adam is very, very much like Elvis in the way he conducts himself.
You got the front of classic rock actually and brought it along with me here.
Yeah.
And what I loved about this actually, and fair play to classic rock, is that they interviewed Adam and Adam's on the front. It is the three of you. It's not. They could have easily just had interviewed the pair of you, couldn't they? And said this is a classic rock magazine, because they're obviously those people who have different, you know, views on Adam's role within the band.
Yeah.
But I thought it was great that they spoke to him and, you know, he stuck up for himself because he's his own person, isn't he? He's absolutely...
Well, he's more than that. You know, he's so what's the word? He's kind of very much overqualified. You know, you could you could have someone who sort of fits the bill and ticks the boxes, but Adam is way more than that. You know, and I think even people who come in who are a bit skeptical, after about 3 songs, they're eating out of his hand. They just, you can see they just love him. And I think by the end of the show, Adam has become that complete focus of the show that Freddie did as well. I mean, that's a big thing, you know. It's almost like I feel very often that Adam is a huge part of the show, you know, a massive part. He's not just someone who's filling a slot. He's changed us. He's brought us up to the 21st century in some ways. He's re-energized us.
Yeah.
And in himself as a performer, I would go and watch him. You know, there's not many performers of his generation or his type that I would go and watch.
That's true.
But I would. I think he's a wonderful craftsman. And that voice is just beyond belief. Sometimes I'm standing beside him and I'm doing certain things like in Who Wants to Live Forever or The Show
Which
Must
he
Go On.
nails. Oh my goodness.
And I never know how he's going to nail it. You know, and sometimes I'll suddenly hear him go for a note and I'll think, Jesus, is he really going to do that? And this all goes through your head while you're playing. You know, you can't lose your cool.
Yeah.
But I feel like stopping and looking at the guy.
Sitting down.
Yeah, just
and
thinking,
watching.
what is he doing? And is he going to pull it off? Yes, he pulls it off every time. It's never anything less than 1,000,000%. Now, I'm sounding too exclamatory now, aren't I? But, you know, I seriously get shivers up the spine at some of the notes he hits. And I know Freddie would as well. You know, if Freddie's watching someplace, somehow, you know, he'd be thinking, God.
I tell you what winds me up, actually. I know it's only a word. This just winds me up. I'll go off one here, though. Is when they say replacing, using the word replacing when they talk about Adam and Freddie. He's not replacing anyone because that suggests that Freddie left or is still around to be replaced. Maybe I'm oversimplifying it, but he's helping you sing some rock and roll songs.
Yeah.
In a wonderful way, and you need someone to do that for you, don't you?
Yeah.
That's how I just see it, you know.
Absolutely. Well, I've sort of given up arguing with people. There's a certain very small percentage of people who go, oh, you know, it's sacrilege. You can't have someone else singing Freddie's song. You know, why? There's certain people who kind of hate us for going out there at all. You know, it's like we built up this Queen thing for half of our lives, and yet people resent us still doing it. But it's a tiny percentage of the population. And
listen, you don't need to talk about this anymore. I don't need to. We
No,
know.
no.
It's the proof. Come and see the show.
Yeah, and of course, you know, if you don't like it, then
Fine.
it's absolutely fine. I can respect that. You know, don't come. But to me, you know, it would be so stupid for us to try to be what we were. You know, we are what we are now. We have this great guy we can interact with. We can entertain. We can put on a show which is absolutely on the level of any of the shows we've done in our lives. So, for me, it's a great thing, and I couldn't possibly say no unless physically I wasn't able.
I think it'd be a huge shame. Obviously, I work for you, but it'd be a huge shame because, let's be honest, the size of band that Queen are, and there aren't many more Queens or AC/DCs left, and U2s, and these bands of such huge magnitude and catalogues that sadly there will be a time when you won't be able to do it anymore, or other bands won't be. And where are these headliners coming from? And it's great to see these acts do it now. You know, it's kind of...
It's nice, yeah. And we get a lot of... I mean, it means a lot to me that we get approval from, I guess, you know, the next generation, like the Foo Fighters guys always come along and...
They're great, aren't they?
They're wonderful, you know, they're so enthusiastic about what we do, and they still, you know, they still kind of look at us in the same way as they looked at us when they were kids, I suppose, you know, which is great for us, you know, and it makes us feel...
Do you think that that's what's come around? People are now realising this period, this golden age of rock and roll, as some people call it, that come around and say, you know, Queen never quite got the critics. I remember the Stones, for the age they are, a lot of people were very critical 20 years ago, but now they're suddenly going, well, actually, you know, the Stones played Hyde Park the other summer and they were great, and hang on, this is the Rolling Stones, they're, you know, they're 70, you know, maybe there's this appreciation, they're saying, you know what, look what you've got in front of you now, don't be too critical about these sort of things.
Yeah, I'm happy to see groups of our ilk, you know, I love seeing Aerosmith, for instance, you know, And I remember taking a couple of my kids to see them and thinking, I'm so happy to see this because I don't have to explain what a rock group in its prime is like anymore. You know, and the funny thing is, you learn a thing or two along the way. I think actually Roger and I are playing better than we've ever played, and I would say probably the Stones are playing better than they've ever done. You know, you do learn. You learn how to handle yourself, and you get better at playing your instrument, and you're less precious about yourself, and that's really important. You know, that's returning to what we talked about at the beginning. You know, you have to go through all the angst and whatever, the development process. You have to be hard on yourself, I suppose, to develop, but you have to get to this point in the end where you accept what you are and you are comfortable in your own skin, and then I think you give your best. That's what people want you to be. If people see you enjoying yourself, they're going to enjoy themselves.
You clearly do enjoy yourself on this show as well, don't you?
Yeah,
you do.
I mean, even on TV, that live thing, you know, I suppose you look forward to it with a little bit of dread as well as excitement, because so much could go wrong, and you think, yeah, I could make an idiot of myself. It's live, and it would be too late to do anything about it. But you know what? That's what we do.
I spoke to Neil downstairs in catering. He said, you went over by 10 seconds. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, we overran
seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
and
amazing.
That's probably because the bagpiper was a little late.
Yeah, I mean, like we've spoken.
Bless him.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see that. I didn't see that coming. That was brilliant. It really was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just another thing to throw in the mix, and it's fun, isn't it?
It worked out really well.
Romantic, can we do it again? Can we do it again sometime? I like that. Ooh, seaside rendezvous. Give us a kiss.